Youth intervention works, and it is vital to the success of our collective future.
Youth intervention programs are community-based, effective solutions for Minnesota youth and their families. These programs intervene precisely at the time when youth are starting to experience difficulty or have committed their first crime.
Youth intervention work is the ability to connect with kids before they develop serious and chronic problems. We have a problem in our society in that we let so many of these kids fall through the cracks. And when they fall through the cracks, we end up dealing with them as adults.
The Youth Intervention Programs Association is an advocate organization that supports hundreds of youth intervention programs across Minnesota. YIPA advocates for policy changes and youth intervention funding at the state capitol and is seeking an increase in funding to meet demand.
We had $6 million funded, but we had $17 million in requests. Governments at all levels cannot possibly fund all the demands that are on them right now. We need, as a society, to do something to slow that growth curve. And that's what youth intervention can do, because we can, you think of the difference of paths these kids can take. One is they're going to be likely lifelong consumers of our public services, or the other, they're going to be lifelong contributors to the common good of the communities they live in.
Over the last several months, YIPA has held 6 summits around the state to connect decision makers and youth intervention professionals to start a dialogue about at-risk youth in our communities.
We have to change the minds of decision makers at all levels. The business community, the local governments, the county governments. So we held a series of 6 from at-risk to full potential youth summits throughout the state of Minnesota. We had one in Brainerd, one in Marshall, one in Moorhead, one in Duluth, and one in Rochester, and this is our final one in the greater Twin Cities area. The purpose of this is to start a dialogue.
From the perspective of youth intervention workers, if you do not invest up front, you end up paying more in the long run.
What we need to do is convince the hearts and minds and souls of people across the state of Minnesota to take some of this money in the back end when it's too late, when we failed the people that are going to be consumers, and put it up front and help these people become successful adults.
The single most important thing we can do to reduce crime in our communities is to invest time, energy, and resources in our children.
I've seen lives changed and hope restored because someone chose to invest in their time and their talents into the life of a youth. It doesn't matter who cares, just that someone does. The coaches, mentors, teachers, professionals, and yes, even law enforcement can make a dramatic positive impact into the lives of a child and into the future paths that they take.
Not only saves the state money and taxpayers' money, it saves lives, and that's the most important part of it.
We commissioned a social return on investment study with the Wilder Foundation and the University of Minnesota, and they took all the variables that come into play, those 2 different paths that I was talking about, and they found for every $1 you invest in a youth intervention program, it returns $4.89. What's beautiful about the YIP grant at the state capitol is in order to get some of that funding, you have to have $1 of a local match. So for state taxpayer dollars, the return on investment is almost $10 to 1.
Trenton Washington was a kid heading down the wrong path in life. He was expelled from his school, in trouble with the law, and had a very dim future. After 2 years on a waiting list, he was finally accepted into a youth intervention program, and his life has been transformed.
Now, I'm succeeding in school, I'm in all accelerated classes, and I have over a 3.7 GPA, and I'm not getting into any more trouble. Instead of being known as a thief and a failing student, I'm known as a young, polite gentleman that's an excellent student.
Trenton is not the only example of success. Local nonprofit Lee Carlson Center for Mental Health and Well-Being has been a recipient of youth intervention grant dollars and has used it to partner with local school districts to provide mental health services to hundreds of students.
We've got groups of kids of all ages meeting together on certain topics. They go through a course curriculum, multi-weeks. They start to really bond with each other, and the peers in that group really help take care of one another and help build resiliency and strength in moving forward through the the obstacles, the barriers, the challenges that they face. And you know, they're just real issues that just need time and attention.
In the Centennial School District, students as young as 3 or 4 years old now have access to mental health professionals.
You know, I believe that the earlier you get to the students that have these needs, the better.
We're working with children in our schooling mental health program from early learning center age all the way to alternative age 21 school programs. So we're really running the gamut, and we're doing that work in 3 school districts.
A lot of what we're doing is cutting edge stuff, and I think it's something that I'm really proud of, and I really feel that it's going in the right direction right now.
Just in the Centennial School District, there are nearly 200 students that are benefiting from a youth intervention program. At-risk youth are in every community, and YIPA is working to have more success stories like Trenton, a young man who used to steal food from the store, who now has high expectations of himself and high aspirations for his future.
Well, I want to go to college, and I want to finish high school with a 3.5 GPA.
For North Metro TV News, Ben Hayle reporting.